don't make a decision on emotion alone, but don't ignore emotion either. So it's clearly all about a balance. Welcome to the Property Mindset Podcast, where I'm Emma Howitt, mentor, investor, and your guide to building wealth, freedom, and personal transformation through property. Property is never just about bricks and mortar. It is about decisions, timing, people, and of course, the state you're in when you're making those decisions. Today's episode is gut feel versus spreadsheets. What really wins in property? I think this is quite a powerful one because, every investor eventually faces the same tension. Do you trust the numbers? Do you trust your instinct? I mean, which one is it? Or do you trust the uneasy feeling that tells you something is off, even when the deal looks perfect on paper? So let's jump straight in and let's turn dreams into actions and actions into success. So we're going to start out with the real question. And, firstly, let's be clear. This is definitely not a debate between emotion and logic. Obviously, the best investors do not choose one or the other, but they learn to use both. A spreadsheet is brilliant at showing you rent, yield, cash flow, refurb costs, finance, and risk. It really gives you structure and it definitely removes fantasy. It helps you compare one opportunity directly against another. But a spreadsheet cannot always tell you whether the agent is misleading you, whether the vendor is hiding a problem, whether the tenants, the street, or the area have a feel that just doesn't match the numbers for some reason. And also whether you personally will have the energy to manage this deal well. As Jim Rohn said, don't make a decision on emotion alone, but don't ignore emotion either. I'm going to repeat that. So don't make a decision on emotion alone, but don't ignore emotion either. So it's clearly all about a balance. The spreadsheet tells you what is measurable, but your gut often tells you what is perhaps missing. And this is where, a lot of investors can get caught out because they think being rational means that you can ignore instinct altogether. And it really doesn't. It means using instinct as a warning light, but not as the final decision maker. So, why does gut feel really matter? In property, gut feel is often like a pattern recognition in disguise. So, you have, seen enough viewings, enough agents, enough refurb projects, enough tenant situations. Um, and also just in life, we experience so many things. And we can feel when something just feels tight, it feels maybe rushed, maybe vague, maybe too good to be true. Wayne Dyer often spoke about worthiness and inner alignment, and that matters here because investors can often ignore their own instincts. And this is something that I have to really work on. I definitely haven't trusted my instincts. And so, it's really key. And this is really cathartic for me because if you ignore your own instincts, you may be trying to force a deal. Okay. So if you feel pressure, if you feel confusion or resistance, it really is worth pausing before you push ahead. So here's the difference between them. So one is like healthy nerves before a good opportunity, healthy nerves before you do something, and then a deep sort of persistent sense that something is really wrong. I think we can resonate with that, can't we? That kind of excitement, but yeah, oh, I'm a bit scared, compared to that kind of deeper, oh, something really feels off here. And it's being aware of those and those differences. So obviously the first, those healthy nerves, they can be overcome. But the second, this kind of deep seated kind of persistence that something is wrong, you've really got to be respecting that feeling. There's a really great, excuse me, useful book here. It's called The Gift of Fear by Gavin Becker. And it really kind of reminds. So, next one is why spreadsheets still win. I mean, please, guys, do not feel at all that I am suggesting that you just go. And in fact, I did work with somebody who used to visit a property and just have a look around and go, yeah, this is just great. I just have got a great gut feeling about it. And that just, oh, was terrifying. Um, you know, instinct alone can be really expensive. And property investors can fall in love with a builder, a broker, a vision, a vibe, and they can ignore the actual numbers. And this is where a spreadsheet is absolutely imperative. I mean, it's just the basis of investing. And I have had people go to extreme lengths to tell me how my mentees, how they're just no good at spreadsheets and they just can't do it. And, it's our subconscious trying to protect us, keep us safe because we're frightened of perhaps, pushing ourselves with the spreadsheets. But no matter how much we push ourselves, you have to stick with the spreadsheet. Property can feel right, but be absolutely financially wrong. I mean, that, you can see that with, um, a lot of these um what's it called, oh my god, I can't remember, uh where you have huge houses being built but people are living in them, and financially these projects are absolute wrong uns, aren't they absolutely do not work, but it feels right to that person because it's an emotional thing for them. Okay. They tend to be almost broken financially, but that's what they want to carry on with. Now, we're property investors and we absolutely do not want you to be financially broken with each project. So, a property can feel awkward, but still be a really brilliant investment. So, a great sort of phrase is feel first, verify second. So your gut can kind of flag up the issues, but your spreadsheet confirms it or corrects it. So, yeah, I can't emphasize enough the importance of spreadsheets as well. So, a really strong investor uses a spreadsheet to check. Does this work if the rates rise? Does this work if I have higher voids? Does this work if the refurb costs run over? Does it work if the market slows down? And this kind of discipline protects you from wishful thinking. And another great book that supports this mindset is The Psychology of Money, and it's by Morgan Housel, and it's absolutely brilliant. It shows how behavior, patience, and decision making um, shape outcomes far more than cleverness alone. So if we're kind of like, oh, I can do this. It's so key to check that out. Um, and this is, really the point here, that spreadsheet is not there to kill your intuition. It's actually there to give your intuition a reality check. So now on to some really practical things, which I'm going to call the viewings test. So you might walk into a property and you might ask yourself three questions. If you're ready to take your property journey to the next level, check out my Property Success Mindset Formula. It's a course on Udemy, and inside you'll discover actionable strategies and exercises designed to shift your thinking, boost your confidence, and help you navigate property challenges with clarity. Whether you're just starting out or looking to break through to a new level, this course delivers the mindset tools professional investors use every day. Visit the link in the show notes to unlock your property potential. Your biggest asset is not just your portfolio, but the way you think. One, what does my gut say? 2, what does the spreadsheet say? And 3, what would I say to a client or JV partner if I had to explain this decision? And can you see that third one is really powerful? It basically removes the fantasy. Can you confidently explain to someone that you really respect that this is a great deal? If there's any doubt there, then they're going to pick up on that. So it's key. Now, a property that just feels right, this is somebody who I worked with, you still need to survive basic things like repair costs, exit strategies, local demand, tenant profile, financing. Oh my gosh. And time costs. We've got to look at those times. And a property that kind of feels slightly off may still be worth pursuing if the numbers are exceptional and you're able to control that risk. So I would say that the rule is not trust your gut always. The rule is never ignore your gut, but never let it overrule hard evidence. I'm going to say that one again. So never ignore your gut, but never let it overrule hard evidence. Another great book that fits this beautifully is Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. Great reminder that humans are just not naturally neutral decision makers. Like, we bring bias into every choice. It could be, how we were brought up, what our parents always say to us. It's just so many things. Our thoughts are neutral, but we then apply our bias onto them. So in property, that can be costly if, you bias every choice in the wrong way. So this book is all about sort of slowing down and checking yourself. And that's why the best property decisions usually come from a process, not a mood. You don't just wake up and go, I'm invincible today. Anything I take on is going to work. No, that is definitely not the suggestion. Okay. It has to be, I'm going to conquer the world today, but equally, I'm going to check out my figures and I'm really going to do my due diligence to make sure that this is going to work. And I'm going to listen to my gut along the way. So the process creates consistency, and the consistency creates the confidence. So what really wins then within property? And the answer basically is disciplined judgment. I think that's pretty clear. The best investors build a process that combines emotional awareness, financial analysis, experience. And if you don't have that experience yourself, speak to others. That's why networking is amazing. Patience. Sometimes rushing into things is not the right thing to do if it doesn't stack, if it doesn't feel right at that moment. And then review after each decision. So this really should have an outcome that you're not making random choices from kind of fear or excitement. You're actually making decisions from evidence. You are then using your instinct as a second layer of protection. And as Warren Buffett said, the best investment you can make is in yourself. And that sounds like it's just picking up a book. But it's not just about that. It's about understanding who you are. It's about understanding those biases in your decision making. It's understanding your instincts. It's understanding the spreadsheets. It's so much more. And obviously, this is so, so true here, because better judgment really comes from better experience, better reflection, better discipline. And the more deals that you view, the more you'll start noticing patterns and what works and what doesn't work. And the more decisions that you review, the more your instincts are going to improve. So, a real favorite of mine, Zig Ziglar. Um, if you haven't heard this one, it's an absolute corker. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And of course, this applies to property. You don't need to have perfect instincts before you begin, but you need a system that helps you learn as you grow. And if you want kind of a more useful mindset reminder, this quote is often attributed to Benjamin Franklin. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. And that is exactly what you are doing. You want to train both your head and your gut. So, what are our practical takeaways from this? So, before your next viewing, ask yourself, what is my gut saying to me? What are my instincts saying to me? What does the spreadsheet say? And is there anything that's being overlooked? And if all of these three are aligned, then you potentially have a really strong deal. But if one of them is shouting, no, slow down, investigate, then make sure you listen to that. If this episode has helped you think more clearly about property decisions, I'd recommend listening next to episode number 32. And this is the mindset shift, breaking free from property myths that limit you, sorry. Because this supports bigger ideas that better help you make your thinking better. So if you know someone that this might help, then please do share this episode. Please subscribe and please do comment. I hear so many people telling me that they absolutely love these episodes and it really helps them. So please do write me a review as well. That would be so appreciated. Because sharing this with somebody really may have a mindset shift for them that changes the trajectory for them for the future. And always remember, property success isn't just about what you do, it's about how you think and the state you're in when you make those decisions. And when you combine a smart portfolio strategy with a disciplined, owner leveled mindset, there's no limit to what you can build over the long term. As always, your mindset is your greatest property. Keep building it.